Today we have traveled out to southwest Colorado, where we will be taking a tour through the Mesa Verde cliff dwellings. This massive work was carved out of the residing cliff, and through this the creation of a residence for what is believed to be around 150 people. So, this village was created around the time of the 11th or 12th century by the indigenous Anasazi people, who were native to this region of the Midwest. The Anasazi peoples were small farmers who cultivated beans, squash, and corn. These people would eventually move away from their crops to cliff areas for reasons such as water source, protection, and spiritual connection with the rocks. In regards to the village itself, there are around 600 structures built directly into the face of the cliffs. These were mostly residential structures, but some were used for ritual practice. So this structure, known as Cliff Palace, is the largest and most elaborate of the series of communities scattered across the Four Corners region of America. It's also the deepest into the cave of all the remaining communities, in order to provide shelter from the elements. Walking tours through this community do exist. In these Anasazi communities, families live together in units surrounding ceremonial buildings called kivas, and these kivas served the purpose of something like a small plaza. They were circular-shaped houses with a roof held up by 6 support columns made from stone masonry. One typical feature of a kiva included a fire pit at the center of the dwelling for warmth with a ventilation shaft to remove the smoke. They would also have to put up a deflector so that air from the vent wouldn't put out their fire. These kivas would have connecting rooms that would pan out from the center room where the people would live. This structure created the housing unit that would typically have a ratio of 9 people to 1 kiva. In addition to these units, we also see large circular buildings scattered across the community. These large circular buildings, or what are referred to as circular towers, are scattered across the community with no known explanation for their usage. These towers contain murals inside, ranging from patterns with geometric designs to various representations of animals and nature. These murals would be made of clay, organic materials, and minerals. The red color came from the mineral hematite, which is an iron oxide mineral. The various blue pigments could range from either turquoise, azurite, or other precious metals. The black colors would come from charcoal, which was widely abundant in these communities, serving functions such as lighting fires. The Mesa Verde community was abandoned around 1300, which falls just a century after the completion of Cliff Palace. It is widely believed and concluded that droughts and lack of food caused the people to migrate, but no documented evidence exists to conclude this theory. The whole complex itself has been preserved almost completely due to its ideal location. The placement of the community, carved underneath the cliff, has prevented any and all exposure to the elements, and the community remains untouched for basically 7 centuries. The dwellings are preserved so well, you can actually still find footprints and handprints of the original Anasazi people who lived there. The ideal placement of these architectural complexes has allowed for historians to be able to interpret large amounts of information about the ancient peoples of this region, their daily lifestyle, rituals, leisure practices, and really allows us to paint a picture of how life would have been had we been living here 800 to 900 years ago. It also allows for people today to be able to come and enjoy the beauty of what architectural marvels this community could create. It is as if the whole reserve has been placed in one large time capsule, untouched for hundreds of years, until we discovered them in the 20th century.